Insanely extravagant things classic Hollywood stars spent millions on. The stars of Hollywood's golden age didn't just earn unimaginable fortunes, they spent them in ways that would make today's celebrities blush. Before private jets and designer labels, classic film icons pioneered a level of extravagance that remains unmatched nearly a century later. I've uncovered the most jaw-dropping, outrageous expenditures from Hollywood's greatest legends. Purchases so excessive they bankrupted studios, altered landscapes, and sometimes literally changed the map of California. While modern stars might buy luxury cars, Golden Age celebrities bought entire car companies. Instead of vacation homes, they purchased islands and built private kingdoms. And number 3 on our list, that purchase was so scandalously expensive it triggered a congressional investigation and changed U.S. tax law forever. But what drove these already wealthy stars to such excessive spending? Was it just ego and competition, or something deeper about the psychology of sudden fame in an era when many had grown up in grinding poverty? Stay with me, because these extravagant purchases reveal the true nature of old Hollywood's relationship with money, a world where yesterday's nobodies became overnight millionaires with no financial guidance, no spending limits, and absolutely no concept of moderation. By the end of this video, you'll understand why some of cinema's greatest talents died completely broke despite earning fortunes that would be worth billions in today's dollars. Number 1. William Randolph Hearst, the castle that bankrupted a media empire. "I think I'll build something" were 5 words that struck terror into the hearts of William Randolph Hearst's financial advisors. The newspaper tycoon and film producer didn't just build a home, he created San Simeon, a private kingdom that nearly destroyed his entire media empire. Hearst Castle began as a modest camping lodge, but evolved into a 68,500 square foot main house with 38 bedrooms, 42 bathrooms, and the world's largest private zoo. What makes this project truly mind-boggling wasn't just its size, but how Hearst furnished it. By purchasing entire European castles, monasteries, and churches, having them dismantled stone by stone and reassembled in California. His Neptune pool was rebuilt 3 times because he kept finding more impressive Roman antiquities to incorporate. During construction, Hearst spent over $150,000 monthly, about $2.5 million today, just on maintenance and acquisitions. Financial records revealed after his death show Hearst spent the modern equivalent of $700 million on San Simeon. The most insane aspect was that construction continued at full speed even during the Great Depression. By 1937, his company was $126 million in debt, nearly $2.4 billion today, forcing him to sell many newspapers and radio stations. Still, San Simeon's construction continued, with Hearst borrowing against his remaining assets to fund his obsession. In private letters to architect Julia Morgan, Hearst repeatedly mentioned creating something that will outlast me, revealing the mortality fears driving his massive expenditure. His longtime mistress, Marion Davies, later commented, "W.R. was building San Simeon not as a home, but as his monument." By Hearst's death in 1951, financial troubles had forced him to abandon San Simeon, leaving it half-finished despite decades of construction. The property was eventually donated to California because his heirs couldn't afford the property taxes. A final irony for a project meant to secure Hearst's personal legacy. Number 2. Charlie Chaplin, the man who built his own studio to avoid sharing profit. While most stars spent fortunes on mansions and luxury items, Charlie Chaplin made a strategic investment considered absolute madness at the time. He built his own complete movie studio just to keep more of his earnings. In 1917, when studios controlled every aspect of production and kept most profits, Chaplin shocked Hollywood by purchasing 5 acres on Sunset Boulevard for $35,000, about $750,000 today, to build Charlie Chaplin Studios. This wasn't just office space. It was a full production facility with sound stages, processing labs, editing facilities, and executive offices designed to look like English cottages. The initial construction cost $100,000, over $2 million today. Studio heads openly mocked Chaplin, with one Universal executive quipping, "The little tramp will be a real tramp when this folly bankrupts him." What his critics missed was Chaplin's business genius. By controlling his entire production process, he went from earning 50% of his film's profits to nearly 100% and gained complete creative control at a time when studios micromanaged every aspect of filmmaking. The most extravagant aspect was how he used the studio. Unlike efficiency-minded studio heads, Chaplin would sometimes spend millions on scenes he ultimately cut. During the gold rush, he spent 6 months and $200,000, about $3 million today, shooting an elaborate sequence with a mechanical cabin teetering on a cliff edge, only to scrap it entirely because it didn't meet his standards. Financial records showed just how prescient Chaplin's extravagant investment was. By 1928, his studio had generated over $8 million in profit, about $130 million today, after accounting for all construction and operating costs, multiplying its value 80 times in just over a decade. Having grown up in extreme London poverty, sometimes going days without food, Chaplin was determined never again to be at anyone else's financial mercy. As he wrote, "Independence is the only gauge of human virtue and worth. What a man is, and what he has, must be manifestations of his own nature." Number 3. John Barrymore, the private island menagerie that shocked even Hollywood. John Barrymore, the era's greatest Shakespearean actor, took star extravagance to unprecedented levels with his purchase and transformation of 13-acre Bella Vista Isle off California's coast. In 1927, Barrymore paid $167,000, about $2.7 million today, for this private island, but the purchase price was just the beginning. Over the next 5 years, he invested more than $1 million, about $16 million today, transforming it into a combination medieval fortress, personal zoo, and maritime museum. According to bankruptcy records, Barrymore's island featured a 100-foot yacht permanently docked as an auxiliary residence, a custom-built aviary housing over 400 exotic birds, a menagerie containing alligators, monkeys, and a baby elephant, a tower observatory with a $75,000 telescope, over $1.2 million today, an automated pipe organ that played throughout the property. The most outrageous aspect wasn't the purchases themselves, but the staffing required. Barrymore maintained 26 full-time staff, including specialized animal keepers, 4 personal chefs, a dedicated astronomer to operate his telescope, and an atmospheric coordinator whose sole job was burning specific incense blends throughout the property to create mood-appropriate scents. The psychological roots become clear in his correspondence. In letters to his brother Lionel, he repeatedly referenced creating a world entirely of my own making, where he could escape Hollywood's demands. Having grown up in the shadow of his father's legendary stage career, Barrymore's Island represented both escape from and attempt to surpass his family legacy. The financial consequences were catastrophic. By 1933, Barrymore was spending over 150% of his substantial income on the property's upkeep alone. During bankruptcy proceedings, the island sold for just $21,000, less than 3% of what he had invested in it. Number 4. Mary Pickford and Douglas Fairbanks. Pickfair, Hollywood's first royal palace. Before there was Brangelina or Bogart and Bacall, there was the original Hollywood power couple, Mary Pickford and Douglas Fairbanks. Their 1920 marriage united America's sweetheart with the king of swashbuckling adventure films, and together they built Pickfair, the property that established the very concept of extravagant Hollywood living. What made Pickfair revolutionary wasn't just its $800,000 cost, about $11 million today, but how it fundamentally changed Hollywood's social hierarchy. Before Pickfair, the film industry was considered disreputable, its stars unwelcome in elite society. Pickfair changed all that by becoming the first Hollywood residence where European royalty, presidents, and literary giants would eagerly accept invitations. Pickfair's excesses included the first private swimming pool in Los Angeles County, a personal screening room with gold-leafed ceiling, bathroom fixtures made from solid gold, the first residential elevator on the West Coast. The household employed 42 full-time staff, including a chef poached from the Ritz Paris, multiple chauffeurs, and a social secretary whose sole job was managing the guest list for their legendary parties. The annual staffing cost exceeded $100,000, about $1.4 million today, more than most studios spent on entire film productions. The most insane aspect was its deliberate over-maintenance. The property was completely repainted every 6 months, regardless of condition. The massive gardens were replanted entirely based on season, with staff removing perfectly healthy plants to install new ones that better matched the current color scheme. Born Gladys Smith in Toronto tenements, Pickford created in Pickfair a visual repudiation of her origins. As she wrote, "Perhaps only those who have known true poverty can understand the need to build walls of luxury against its return." Pickfair's legacy extended beyond the couple's 1936 divorce. The property established Beverly Hills as Hollywood's prestigious address and transformed Hollywood's social standing, elevating film people from entertainment industry workers to American royalty worthy of hosting actual royalty. Number 5. Rudolph Valentino, the man who collected homes he never lived in. Rudolph Valentino, Hollywood's original Latin lover, developed one of the strangest spending habits in early Hollywood, purchasing and fully furnishing luxury homes he never actually occupied. Between 1921 and 1926, Valentino purchased 7 fully furnished mansions across Southern California, spending approximately $1.2 million, about $19 million today. The bizarre aspect wasn't just the number of properties, but that he spent only a few nights in most of them, with several never occupied by him at all. Each home would be purchased, extensively renovated to Valentino's specifications, filled with custom furniture, staffed with full-time servants, and then largely abandoned as he moved on to his next acquisition. The most extreme example was his Whitley Heights mansion, purchased for $175,000, about $2.8 million today. Valentino spent an additional $100,000 on renovations, including an indoor swimming pool lined with imported Italian marble. According to property records, he visited this fully staffed home exactly twice in 2 years, spending a total of 3 nights there while continuing to pay a full household staff. What made this behavior particularly destructive was that Valentino typically borrowed against his future earnings to fund these purchases. By his death at 31, approximately 70% of his substantial earnings were going toward maintaining properties he rarely or never used. In letters to friends in Italy, he repeatedly referenced creating proof of permanence through his property acquisitions. Having arrived in America as a penniless Italian immigrant, Valentino needed physical manifestations of his success, even if he didn't use them. As his friend Lena Basquette observed after his death, Rudy bought houses like other men bought suits, not to live in them, but to show he could have them. Each empty house was a monument to the immigrant boy who once had nowhere to sleep. Number 6. Gloria Swanson, the gold bathtubs and diamond doorknobs. Gloria Swanson wasn't just one of silent film's greatest stars. She was Hollywood's original lifestyle extremist whose spending habits created standards of extravagance other stars strove to match. At her peak in 1926, Swanson commanded $20,000 weekly, about $325,000 today, and spent it with theatrical flair. Her bathroom featured gold-plated fixtures custom designed by Cartier at a cost of $40,000, about $650,000 today. When a plumber pointed out that gold is too soft for functional fixtures, Swanson reportedly replied, "Then we'll replace them when they wear out." Swanson regularly bathed in imported French champagne and milk, believing it softened her skin. During stressful production periods, she added liquid gold chloride, to these baths, a dangerous practice that occasionally caused skin reactions requiring medical treatment. Perhaps most extreme was Swanson's dental work. Dissatisfied with how her teeth appeared on film, she had all her teeth extracted and replaced with gold-enhanced replicas, believing they would photograph better. This painful, medically unnecessary procedure cost approximately $5,000, about $81,000 today, at a time when the average American earned $1,300 annually. Swanson's household expenses were equally extraordinary. She employed a lingerie coordinator, whose sole job was managing her custom underwear collection, and a food taster who sampled every dish before it reached her table, not for poison, but for aesthetic approval. In letters to her third husband, she repeatedly referenced creating a lifestyle so extraordinary it cannot be ignored, revealing how her expenditures secured her social position when film actors were still fighting for cultural legitimacy. By 1934, Swanson had declared bankruptcy, listing debts of over $500,000, about $11 million today. The gold bathroom fixtures were sold for a fraction of their purchase price, and her gold dental work was eventually replaced with conventional materials. As Swanson herself reflected, "I spent money as if there were no tomorrow, and for a brief, beautiful moment in the 1920s, it really seemed like tomorrow might never come." Number 7. Marion Davies. The beach house that cost more than MGM's annual budget. Marion Davies, actress, comedian, and longtime companion of William Randolph Hearst, owned perhaps the most extravagantly expensive beach house in American history. While technically her property rather than Hearst's, Ocean House was funded by his fortune and became Hollywood's most legendary party venue. Built in 1929 along Santa Monica's Gold Coast, Ocean House wasn't just a beach home, but a 34-bedroom, 55-bathroom compound with 32 full-time employees. According to construction records, the initial building cost was $7 million, about $117 million today, a sum that exceeded MGM's entire production budget for 1929. What made Ocean House extraordinary wasn't just its size, but its features, including a full-size replica of a Venetian canal, complete with gondolas in the central courtyard, an Olympic-sized swimming pool filled with heated seawater pumped directly from the ocean, a pipe organ that could be played from any room in the house via remote keyboard consoles, a private theater with projection equipment more advanced than most commercial cinemas. According to household ledgers, a typical weekend party at Ocean House cost between $10,000 to $15,000, about $170,000 to $250,000 today, and Davies hosted these gatherings almost weekly during Hollywood's peak seasons. For a 1938 New Year's celebration, Davies transformed the entire property into a reproduction of Times Square, complete with a custom-built 70-foot ball that dropped at midnight and individual storefronts stocked with real merchandise that guests could take home as souvenirs. This single party cost approximately $200,000, about $4 million today. Despite her professional success, Davies remained insecure about her position as Hearst's mistress rather than wife. As she wrote to her sister, "The house makes me legitimate in a way nothing else can. When they come to my home, they must acknowledge me as more than just W.R.'s girl." Ocean House's extravagance eventually contributed to Hearst's financial problems. By 1937, the annual operating cost had reached approximately $700,000, about $14 million today. The property was reluctantly sold in 1938, marking the end of Hollywood's most legendary party venue. Number 8. Elvis Presley, the $1 Million Sandwich Flights. While from rock's early era rather than classic Hollywood, Elvis Presley's spending habits represented the culmination of Golden Age star extravagance, taking celebrity excess to heights even Hearst might have found extreme. In 1975, Elvis purchased a Convair 880 jet for $800,000, about $4.3 million today, naming it the Lisa Marie after his daughter. He spent an additional $1 million refitting it with gold bathroom fixtures, a conference room, and a master bedroom with custom entertainment system. The annual maintenance and staffing costs exceeded $500,000, about $2.7 million today. What makes Elvis's jet expenditures truly mind-boggling was how he used it. According to pilots' logbooks, Elvis would regularly fly hundreds or thousands of miles solely to satisfy specific food cravings. The most famous was his Fool's Gold Loaf expedition, flying from Memphis to Denver in the middle of the night for a specific sandwich consisting of a hollowed-out loaf of bread filled with peanut butter, jelly, and a pound of bacon. This single midnight sandwich run cost approximately $16,000, about $86,000 today, in fuel, crew costs, and expenses. According to financial records, Elvis made similar food-related flights at least monthly during his final years, spending well over $250,000 annually, about $1.3 million today, on impulsive aerial food deliveries. Perhaps even more extravagant were Elvis's matchmaking flights. On at least 3 documented occasions, Elvis used his private jet to transport friends to Las Vegas for spontaneous weddings when they mentioned relationship troubles. According to his pilot Milo High, Elvis once flew a Memphis friend and his girlfriend to Vegas for an immediate wedding after hearing they'd had an argument, telling them, "You two need to get married tonight, and I'm making it happen." Having grown up in poverty in Tupelo, Mississippi, Elvis associated unrestricted movement with success and freedom. As his longtime friend Marty Lacker observed, "For a poor kid who once couldn't afford bus fare, the ability to fly anywhere, anytime was the ultimate proof he'd made it." In the final year of his life, Elvis spent approximately $224,000, about $1.1 million today, on aircraft maintenance alone, not including fuel or crew costs. The jets were sold shortly after his death, as his estate struggled with massive tax obligations. These insane expenditures reveal something profound about fame, wealth, and the psychology of Golden Age Hollywood. Beyond mere luxury or status seeking, these extravagant purchases often reflected deeper motivations. Hearst building the monument his ego required, Valentino buying empty houses to prove he belonged, and Chaplin creating the independent studio that gave him the control his childhood lacked. What connects these diverse spending patterns is how they reflect attempts to address psychological needs through financial excess. Stars who grew up poor created physical monuments to security and social status. Those who felt trapped by the studio system spent fortunes to gain independence. And figures like Davies used architectural grandeur to legitimize social positions that felt tenuous. The financial consequences were often devastating. Many died with just fractions of their peak wealth, their fortunes consumed by maintenance costs, taxes, and the inevitable decline in earning power that came with age or changing public tastes. The next time you hear about a modern celebrity buying a multi-million-dollar home or luxury vehicle, remember that today's star expenditures pale in comparison to Hollywood's golden age, a time when stars didn't just purchase products but reshaped landscapes, built private kingdoms, and sometimes literally changed the map in their pursuit of making fantasy reality through extraordinary wealth. What surprising golden age star expenditure shocked you most? Let me know in the comments below.